And we're live. Naam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Muslimah Wordsmith Writer Conference 2020. Wow, this is the third presentation for the day. And as it is, we're slowly but surely inching towards the end of the conference. I'm feeling a little sad. But anyway, we'll just get right to it then. The talk for this, the presentation that we're going to be having right now is going to be facilitated by Bashirat Abdulwahab, Hajia Bashirat Abdulwahab. And she's going to be talking about the business of writing. But before that, let me introduce her to you all and read out a bio, a very concise one. Bashirat Abdulwahab is a trained journalist turned helping practitioner. She's a corporate trainer and social entrepreneur. She holds a master's degree in mass communications and has evolved over the years with certifications and competencies in Neuro Linguistic programming, bereavement and grief counseling and management, emotional intelligence, mental health first aid, writing and self-publishing, community development, and psychosocial work. She currently hosts various masterclasses across Nigeria and teaches life-transforming online courses via her web-based platform. She also helps corporate organizations and teams infuse emotional intelligence into their work ethics for improved performance and growth. Bashirat has been featured and interviewed on various media platforms to include Daily Trust newspaper, Blueprint, and others. She's a member of the Abuja Literary Society. She lives in the capital city of Abuja, Nigeria, with her two adorable sons. MashaAllah. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Sister Bashira now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Sister Afsa, for having me. Hello, everyone. I want to believe that they can hear me now and see me. I'm trying to look out for the chat because I would like to make this as interactive as possible. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can you reply me in the chat box so I can know that you all are here and you can hear me and you can see me? MashaAllah. Sister Hafsa has already done the intros. My assignment today is to, teach a little bit because we can't teach everything in an hour or less, but then we can teach something and at least open our eyes to the business of writing and how you can become a profitable writer or a profitable author, as the case may be. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of my own story. So you see, the first time I laid my hands on writing or I tried was in secondary school. My cousin came to Nigeria from the US and she was this very creative young lady. She was sketching dresses and all of that, would color it, and I got some inspiration, So I rode on that excitement and I started writing a novel, sort of. When I finished, I entrusted it into the hands of my English teacher because I knew somebody, of course, needed to see it. And few weeks later, I went back to her to say, Madam, have you looked through my book? And she says, I can't find it. That was really very heartbreaking. And there was no remorse whatsoever, no apologies, nothing. And that single experience actually made me feel maybe I'm not good enough writer. Maybe I really didn't need to bother. Maybe whatever it is that I'd written in that book at that time was trash, It was really very saddening. Until, when seriously, that was when I now started trying to pick up the whole thing again. And it was very difficult because I already had all of this limiting belief about not being a good enough writer, even though I studied broadcast journalism in school. And I started thinking about, okay, who is even going to care about the story that you want to share? Who cares about the story of a young reader anyway? So those were the stories I was telling myself, and then each time I started writing the manuscript, I'll dump it and then come back to it, and I had different versions of it. And finally, I was able to write it because I finally got to that point where I was able to clearly define the reason why I wanted to write the book. Now, I want you to be taking note of this.
To that
You need
point
to have
where
a
I
purpose,
was
you know, you need to have a purpose, because if you do not have a purpose, you need to have a purpose why you really want to write your book, because if you do not have a purpose, then there is a problem, right? um so um so I started, and finally I was able to publish my first published book, From Pain to Purpose, in 2017. And I remember when the publisher brought these books to my house, they were 1,000 copies, fresh from the press, the smell of, fresh prints. And I was super excited, autographed the first copy, was trying to autograph other copies and send out dispatch to other people that pre-ordered. And then it dawned on me that I had about how many more copies left? Maybe 900 or so, or 950 copies to sell. And I now had to sit down and be like, okay, so Bashirat, how are you going to sell 900 copies of books? How are you going to be staring at them like this? I look at the stack of books and I'm thinking, how do I sell off these books? And then I knew that I still had more work, and it was beyond writing, getting myself to write and publishing it. There's a major problem, or a major challenge that still needs to be solved, and that is selling the book. So now, so I started doing marketing. I started looking out for how can I even get people to pay attention to whatever I've written. So I started sharing nuggets from the book. I started asking people to offer their reviews, about the book. I started putting that out, and then when I put that out, people started asking, where can I get this book from, and all of that. And so that's how people started buying, 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 until, at some point I'll get organizations asked to buy the books, and all of that. And we're as good as sold out on From Pain to Purpose. Now I need to share the story with you because really a lot of people dabble into writing, becoming an author, publishing, and they don't even understand that they also need a little bit of marketing skills to actually push this. Right now that you know my story, that's not all of my story anyway. If you really want to know who I am, you may need to read From Pain to Purpose or something, or Dispossessed. But then, I need us to get the, myths and misconceptions about writing and profiting from writing out of the way. We find a lot of people saying that, oh, who reads these days? Nobody reads. We have read times and times again how they say if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. I beg to disagree now because, times have changed, right? And we are in the information age now. And a lot of people are looking for information to better their lives, to improve their skills, to sell their business, to whatever. So to say people are not reading, it's like, really, where are you? Because we are all reading. We all read on a daily basis, even if it's a WhatsApp broadcast, if it's an Instagram post or a Facebook post, but we read, and so the question becomes, it's not about whether people read or not, it is what are people reading. So you want to check, what are people reading? This is what you want to know. So now that we have established that people are actually reading something, and the only way you can understand what your audience are reading is to know what matters to them at this point in time. You need to meet them at their point of needs, and that is the only way they'll be able to pay attention to you. Now, I need you to be answering me now because I'll be asking some questions. So, are you one of those people that think that authors are poor people? Do you think they're poor? Do you think authors are poor people? Do you think that books are not profitable? Do you think that, there is nothing to it? You just get to have this title of an author. What do you really think? Um, about this, because what your belief is and all those misconceptions that you probably harbor over time about this is really going to affect you when you finally get to do this, right? So I need to let you know that as an author, beyond selling your books, there's so many other ways by which you can become profitable, and I'm going to be sharing more on that, as I go on. But then I need you to know that um authors are not poor people. I'm not poor. Books are profitable if you know how to sell them, right? And people are reading if you write the right content for your target audience. Those are three things I really need you to get clear right now. Others are not poor. Books, people still read, and books still sell if you know how to sell your book. And of course, you can really make money from writing your book. I can tell you for free that I've made 7 figures from writing my book. This is no joke, and I've gone on to show countless number of people to actually jumpstart their books, finish through, and publish their books. In the past 2 years, I've worked with a whole lot of people. Um, and most of the time I like to watch people that have transformational stories to share, because for me that's what I've always done. I've written transformational stories. I've shared my story. I like to write works that create mind shifts in the life of people. Something that can really add value, something like a self-help book that people can pick up, and when they read it, they can learn something that would better their lives. All these actionable stuff that can really help their lives. So having established those misconceptions, and I'm hoping that you're noting all of this down, and that you are taking note of those ones that you probably have harbored, because there are a whole lot of other what do you call it, other misconceptions, myths, and limiting beliefs, right? And when it comes to money, people even also have money blocks, right? And these are the things we really need to start dealing with by ourselves. Maybe seeing a therapist, talking to someone that can really help you. You really need to debunk all of those myths and maybe money blocks they probably have, and they can be really stopping you from charging for your writing, or charging for your books, or charging for a work of poetry, or charging for a work of art, or any creative work at all that you actually do. Um, um, so now let's talk about being profitable as an author and or as a writer, and what are the options that are available for you. Like if you really want to make some money, um, through writing. Number one, you can be a freelance writer. Yes, so that's an option. If you can be a freelance writer, and you can get paid for it, yeah, there are a whole lot of platforms whereby you can get paid as a freelance writer. There's Upwork. There is the most popular one, Fiverr. I don't know if you've tried Fiverr before, but Fiverr is amazing. It's been changing people's lives. You can write a speech for someone, you can help someone write a resume, you can help people write anything, right? And you can help people write blog posts, right? So, and you get paid, and this payment starts from like $5 and up. And so the more you get on doing this, the better you get, and then your pay can increase, right? So that's about freelancing. And then there are other ways by which you can also freelance. For instance, you can write as guest writers for blogs, for popular websites, for news sites. You can do all of that as well. Um, Sometimes, the local ones, I'm not sure they would really pay you for doing freelance for them, but it can actually expose you. You can gain some experience, you can learn a lot by doing that, and then it can make you a little bit popular and help you to push your business out there. So depending on the type of area that you write about, people can begin to look for you to do certain things for them, offer certain services for them. Because if you write about a phenomenon or an idea or anything for a very long time, people begin to ask you for solutions in that area, right? So make sure you're writing practical things, and make sure that whatever it is you're writing, you are, how will I say, you know what you're doing, like you know what you're doing, you need to be intentional. So that's about it for freelancing. What other thing you can do is you can have your own blog. So we have a lot of bloggers out there, they're writing. If you remember very well, someone like Linda Nkechi, for instance, actually started out blogging, and just from becoming a blogger, somebody that would just carry news and post on her site, and then she went viral. And when she became viral, that's it. That's how she now has the guts to charge for adverts on her blog, and all of that, because a lot of traffic is trooping to a website, on every minute basis. So you could own a blog as well, and when you work on it well, after some time, you realize that people go to your site for information, and you can begin to make money from that. What other thing can you do? You can proofread on Fiverr. You can edit if you've got editing skills. There's so many other things that you can do. Now, um, that's it about freelancing. Um, but let's talk about writing and becoming an author and becoming a profitable author. Now we have a lot of people wanting to write books and they don't know how to get started. Since the lockdown, I've been running this program called Write, Publish, Sell. Your write, publish, and sell your story to seven figures, and we've had like 5 cohorts since the lockdown, and it will shock you to know that about 4 of them have actually gone on to finish their books. One already has a book published and printed since last month. Another one has a book. Two other ones have their books in press. Or three other ones, yes, they have their books in press and they will be out anytime soon, probably next month. Why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because when you really put your heart to it, you really can do it, right? And sometimes, people make it seem like writing is so super difficult. Nobody is born with any skill. We're not born with writing skills at all. And it's not like an automatic thing to do for us, even as children, because when we were born, the only first natural thing we really get to do is speak. That comes to us naturally. If a child cannot speak or cannot mumble, there's a problem. They begin to wonder whether they're dumb or deaf or something like that. But then, away from that, when it comes to writing, you realize that usually, if you're up to 30 years, probably you start using pencil or start trying to write in school learning at the age of 3, right? Because that's the ideal age for children to start learning to use their hands because their bones are well developed. Now, so you can imagine that you're already talking clearly before you probably start writing. You can hear, you can speak, you can communicate, but when you have to start writing, you have to learn it. They don't teach us how to speak, but they teach us how to write. So you need to be very intentional, because this is a skill that you can learn, relearn, you can unlearn, you can relearn, you can hone those skills, and you can get better. Remember that practice is the mother of mastery, and the more you do it, the better you get. Now, I also need you to know that there is nothing like a perfect writer or a perfect author. Forget it. There's nothing like that. As much as possible, when you're writing, you want to write in the clearest form possible, in an interesting way that people can actually digest the information or the story or the idea or the skill, whatever it is that you want to share with them in writing. That's what you really want to do. You don't want to write something and then people have to be looking for dictionary whenever they have to read it. Oh crap, that's too stressful, right? You want to communicate, because that's the essence of writing. You want to communicate, and you have to ensure that you communicate in the best form possible. So yes, there is no perfect writer, and yes, you can write. You can learn, you can relearn, you can hone your skills, and you can get better with writing. Now, one other way by which you can use writing is to use it to generate leads for your business or for your services. If you're an author, you also need to have a service, really. And the service doesn't have to be helping people write their books or showing people how to write books. It could be proofreading, it could be editing, it could be a different service. Like for me, I'm into coaching and counseling and complementary therapy and grief management. So when people read my work, because I've written books in that area, books about grief, books about, converting your pain to purpose, books about, how you can transit to a better life. When people have issues or when somebody has somebody else who's going through a tough time, they're quick to refer them to me because they know I have the skills and competencies. That's because I've been writing about it. So what becoming an author or writing does for you is that when you stick to a particular area or phenomenon or a part, something that you really are good at, and you consistently write about it, you become an authority leader. And when you become an authority leader, that can actually help you generate leads, right? It can help you generate people, can help you generate clients, right? And people will be willing to pay for your major service, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, because they already have this belief that you know it so well. I hope everyone here is with me, and I hope that you're enjoying this. So yes, let's talk about becoming profitable as an author. So we've explored freelancing, we've explored writing for blogs and websites, we've explored owning your own blog, we've explored all of those areas and understanding that you need a little bit of skills in marketing to actually be able to sell your book. So yeah, let's go on to becoming really profitable, and I'll share some little secrets with you. You see, when it comes to writing a book, you really want to be intentional now, because there's so many books out there, there's so many informations out there, there's so many things going on in this virtual world of ours, craving for people's attention, right? And so, if you want people to pay attention to what you do, you need to stand out. You cannot fit in and people will recognize you or people will see you. You need to stand out, right? So, you're not fitting in, you're going to stand out. You're going to have to stand out. And if you have to stand out, that means you must do something differently. You must be very, very, very intentional about whatever you're doing, from what you write in your book, the stories you share, what your book looks like, Oh, really? I would really love to show you some of my books, what they look like. Let me see if I have one close by. Because really, how your book looks is very important. Your book is most likely going to sell itself when you're not there. So I found one close by when you're not there. So what does your book cover look like? For instance, if you're writing a book, if you're an author, you need to pay attention to that, because you want to create something, create a title, create a cover image, create a cover design. The people would really pay attention to be like, okay, what's she trying to say? Or when they see it, on the shelves of a bookstore, they want to wait and see and say, okay, this is something I really should read. It kind of calls them in, like it draws them in, right? So I remember when I was writing this book, there was a book in my head, which is a book I wrote for anybody that's struggling to write or trying to, share the story. I first started out because I thought I wanted to write an ebook to just help people. But then I wrote the Jumpstart ebook and I felt that was enough. And then I started writing this one. And by the time I was halfway gone into it, I knew this is just more than an ebook, girl. You need to turn this to a main book. And that's how I started. So I started being intentional about what I wanted my book to look like and what the color is going to be. Now, this is my book. There was a book in my head. This book was published in January 2019. It came out of press in February. Um, and this is it. Now, I'm not sure if you can see the cover well, but if you see it very well, this is the title. I remember doing a live video with this title, Help, there was a book in my head, and it got a lot of traction. And I said, wow, so people have got books in their heads, right? Okay, so I felt, let it be the title, because that's the whole idea of the book. But if you look at it, you see the way we even wrote the help is kind of different. We try to write it the other way around because we want people to pay attention. And if you look at this very well, you realize that there is an image of a lady screaming like she's frustrated. She's got books in her head, right? We created that too, and it is embossed. When you're actually holding the book, you can actually feel this, like you can feel the title, you can feel the image, you can feel everything. And here behind, even the image here is still embossed. And so this is really fantastic. This is really amazing. So the book itself is an experience, and this book has single-handedly sold itself too many times. Like people just see them and be like, "Oh, I really want to buy this book." And when um the bookstore that is stocking my book already, this is the book that sells most on their shelf out of all the books, essentially on writing. Now, why am I showing you this? Because I need you to understand that if you fit in, nobody is going to see you. You need to stand out. You need to do something novel, something different from the norm, something that stands out, right? Something that really does stand out. I don't know if Sister Hafsa is still here. I need to start getting questions. I'm not sure I'm seeing any chat at all. So I'm trying to see if I can get questions.
I'm here.
Do I have questions? Okay, mashallah, you're still with me. Do I have questions? People, I'm not able to see the chats from here.
You can't see the chat though. People are just putting down some of the points you are making. You don't have any questions yet. People
Okay,
are
so
jotting down the points they are taking out from
okay.
from the talk.
Oh, okay, okay. Could you do me a favor by screenshotting those? Okay. So, also, I need you to begin to put down your questions now, really, because we'll surely be running out of time anyway, so that I can
Okay.
have ample time to answer them. I'm rounding up now. Um,
Okay.
so now I remember entrusting, 100 copies of From Pain to Purpose to a distributor or sort of a marketer to actually let me put my books across bookstores in Nigeria, and that was not accountable for, like it was not accounted for, and I don't really know what to say because the books are not missing. I actually know the bookstores that have the books. They know I know, but I didn't give them the books, right? So it's very difficult for me to approach them for the money. But the person that gave them the book is not reachable, right? So and that experience actually taught me a lot that you need to be sure where who you're entrusting your books with as regards selling or whoever you're entrusting your intellectual property or whatever with. So I became very intentional. I started looking out for bookstores that have a system in place, bookstores that can actually, you know, be accountable, right? They keep their books, so they take in books and then they catalog them. They when they sell, they remit and all of that. You also need to pay attention now in this digital world. You already know that there's so many other ways by which you can make money as from your book or your content aside writing it in paperback. Yes, but writing it in paperback actually does so you makes you look more like a serious author, right? But there are so many e-publishing platforms out there. We know them. Our own indigenous one is Okada Books, there is BAM Books, there's Panacea, but then we know the global one, which is Amazon, and Amazon Kindle can actually expose you to a global market. Now, the good thing about this time and age that we are living in is that you actually have access to the markets abroad. Like you have access to the people in America, in China, in Australia, anywhere. There is no barrier again. So you are a competitor with the major big writers and the big authors because if you have access to the people that they also have access to, you just need to position yourself right to actually be able to get them to pay attention to you. So what are you doing with this virtual space that we have here? I've made a lot of friends, from the US, from the UK, just because they ordered my book from Amazon and read it, and then they reached out, and then we became friends. And we've gone on to do so many other things together. So you see, it's really interesting how living in an age and time like this can actually help you step up your game as a writer, as an author. You position yourself well. Also remember that when you write for other people or when you write for other platforms, it also exposes you to an international audience because there's so many people from all over the world that can access it, just by A click, this way, tap of finger, they're there on this website and they're reading whatever it is that you share, or they're reading your blog or something like that. So how well are you pushing what you're writing? This creative work of yours, what are you doing with it? Are you positioning yourself in the right place? Are you reaching the right people? Do you even know the people that you're writing for? Who are they? Have you identified them? How can you help them? Are you writing the right content for them? Because sometimes we have amazing content, but we're writing for the wrong audience, right? All of us are busy trying to amass followers on social media and all of that. But you don't need to amass all of the followers. You just need to focus on the right people that you really want to serve. Because that's the only way you can get value out of it. They can get value from you, and you can get value, from me. So you can imagine having nursing models everywhere, and then what you're actually interested in talking about is totally different. If nursing models are the people following you, and what you're speaking doesn't speak to their pain as nursing models or new models, you know, you're probably talking about how to write a book and become popular, and they'll be looking at it like, is that my own problem? They really won't give your writing a second look. So you need to understand your people, and you need to know what you need to write for them. Um, so I've gone on to talk about book designs. I've gone on to talk about how to sell your book and getting them in the right places, and how this can actually position you in a global market. Um, and then promoting your book. So most of the time, people don't think that a book is a product, and that's why a lot of people get it wrong. You don't think that your blog is a product. You don't think that, you say, whatever creative work that you do with your hands, your brain, is a product. It is a product, and it's scalable. So for instance, your book is just like any other product. Like when you say this book is about this, for instance, this book, there's a book in my head, says how to install writing habits and finally get published. There's a book in my head already. Anybody that wants to learn how to write, understand that this is a book they need to get. And at the back, there is an about the book, and there is a review. Now, um and we have somebody here saying, oh, this book is simply experience speaking. Bashirat has shown that master authors are not rookies. This book is lovely in content, flow, and appeal. Great job. You see? So when anybody sees all of this, they know if they want to write it or not, if they want to buy and read this book or not, right? They really do know that. So you need to promote your book. And there's different ways by which you can. Number one, you want to get people that actually know about your area of topic to um write what you call it, write reviews for your book. For instance, write reviews for your book, share a comment with you about your book, something that really they're taking away from it, or share a comment with you about a review with you about your work. And you can use it to actually get more people to pay attention, because that shows that it is working. So a book is just like every other product. Like if you tell people, come and buy body cologne, come and buy body cream or perfume, or come and buy a black spots cream, if you use it after 1 week, your spots, it will fade away, and then they buy it, it doesn't work. Do you think they'll come back? It is the same thing for your book. When you say you're going to solve a problem, let it better be what people find. You need to keep your promise as a writer, as an author. Whatever you say you're going to address with your writing, then you better do that, because if not, you're going to lose the trust of your readers. It's very important. So for me, yeah, there is a promise. It's so obvious here. Help, there's a book in my head. How to install long lasting writing habits and finally get published. This is a promise, right? And I made sure that I fulfilled it. And everybody that's gone on to read this book, gone on to say the book has actually helped them do this, right? So, and this will finally led to me creating an online course, like a premium online course, where I publish and sell your story, and then an online group coaching program to help people actually, get their story ideas out there, their books, their whatever it is that they have in their head, stuck in their head. Yes. So this book for me has done a lot. It has helped me to transform. I've built from writing the book to from teaching free classes for people to jumpstart their books, to writing a free ebook, to writing a book that's sold, and I have made my money back since last year, and we have moved on to dispossess, from that to, creating a premium online course and then creating a premium group coaching program, and all of that to help people. So this is how you can scale. This is how you can become profitable. So it's not enough for you to just write a book. I wrote a book from pain to purpose, and I've gone on to build my skills as a complementary therapist, and I now coach and counsel people. And I offer solutions, especially when it has to do with people that are going through life stress event. So you don't want to just write and just be there. There's so many things to being a writer and an author that you really need to explore, right? There's so many ways by which you can make money. So if you really know your onions well, people will begin to tell you to come and speak. Come and speak, give us a keynote speech on this, come and speak at our event, come and teach us this at a seminar, because they are seeing you as an authority leader. Right? So take advantage of those opportunities. So many opportunities, are bound for you as an author. So many, because it gives you this respect, it gives you this authority tag, it opens you up to opportunity, when you introduce yourself as an author, people are like, wow, you're an author, OMG, and all of that. So and of course, it gives you a passive income that can really come in handy on days when, on rainy days. I sold my book a lot during this COVID. There's so many things I've done during this COVID. I've done the coaching program. We have gone on to do 5 cohorts, created the online course, rebranded it again with Safitor, do a lot. So you can imagine how just from writing one book, there's so many ideas, so many other books, so many programs and courses and skills and that coming as a result of just writing. So please, easy writer. When you're a writer, then so what? After being a writer, what else are you? I want you to know that you're more than an author, you're more than a writer. There is more to whatever craft, whatever creative work that you do. After, are you there? I'm rounding up and I need the questions if they're ready.
Okay. There's a question here. She says, Halima says, what is your advice for someone who has written a book in a particular niche that is less dense, but she's stuck at the point of marketing? Okay, maybe she's stuck. I think she meant stuck. She meant stuck at the point of marketing. Obviously, people would be willing to patronize someone that is already a household name.
Okay, so when I wrote From Pain to Purpose and published it, I wasn't a household name. Nobody knew me, right? So the truth is, you don't have to be a household name for people to buy your book. That's it. So number one, you need to debunk this myth about people are not going to buy your book because you're not a household name. That's a limiting belief. You need to get rid of that. Where did you get that from? You say it's because you're a first-time author, they're not going to read your work. Where did you get the story from, right? Because for me, what I'm thinking, or from your question, what I perceive is that you have told yourself the storyline that I'm a newbie, so nobody is going to read my book. No, that's crap. They're going to read your book if it has value. That's it. And I always ask the authors I work with is, why should I invest my dime in your book? Like, why do you think that you deserve my dime? That's it. And if you can answer that question, why you think or you believe that anybody should take their hard-earned money to buy your book or read it, then they're going to pay for it. So you need to understand the value in your book because they don't know. When they know the value in your book, and if you're selling this value to the right people, if you remember, I've been sharing this, talking about writing for the right people. If you're targeting the right people with the value in your book, they will pay attention and they will buy it. So 3 things you really want to do: debunk this limiting belief of I'm a newbie. Nobody's going to read my book because they don't know me. When I started off, nobody knew me. But that book From Pain to Purpose is like glow. You just view me and then you start paying attention. You get? And imagine if after my publisher brought those 1,000 copies and I just sent out all the stuff for the pre-orders, I'd be like, OLG, who is going to buy? Who's going to read the remaining copies? And then I just keep them stacked. The books would have probably spoiled by now. But I pushed. I started communicating the value in the book. I started using reviews from people that have read the book to sell the book. So you can't keep quiet And you can't diminish the value of your book just because you feel you're a newbie author. You need to sell, you need to present the value. If you don't show people what your book can do for them, they don't know. So you need to communicate the value that your books carry, because you alone know the book that your books carry. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Okay. Another question. I am writing a book. Sorry. I am writing a book on an aspect. Can you see it on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Being the first time, what I lay down procedures to be followed or stages involved in order to get for the I haven't written any before. Okay, Omiri de Murtola. Okay, you're writing a technical book, apparently. So if you're writing a technical book, that means I probably know better. I'm a mathematician. But if you want the steps on writing a book, yes, one thing you really want to do is that why do you want to write this book on this topic in this area of mathematics? Number one. Two, who are you writing for? See, if you have not figured out who you're writing a book for, don't start, because you're just setting up yourself for massive failure and depression and frustration by the time you're done and nobody's reading. So get clear on who you're writing for. When you get clear on who you're writing for, you have your book idea and you're clear who you're writing for. Then why do you want to write it? What's the value proposition? When you figure out those three things, go on. You're going to do well. Because one, you know why. That means you have a motivation, something that's going to push you through to go to the finish, get to the finish line. Two, you know who you're writing for. So you know who to target with your marketing when it's time for you to sell. And three, you're very certain about what you're writing because you feel you know enough about it to actually want to teach any other person in the form of a book. So yes, so when you figure out those three things, then you want to create an outline for yourself, of course. So you have to have an outline, something like a direction that is going to direct your writing, and then just go on to start writing. Start the first drafter. Just start anyway. When you're starting, you may get stuck with what the first sentence or the first word or the first paragraph is gonna be like, but just start
But at least you
anyway.
started.
Pick up a
Yes.
few books and see how they start their book. These are ways. Pick up a book and see how they started. How did they start the first word? What was the first word? What's it? See? Yeah, I have. Okay, this is not even the chapter one. So here I have. Okay, let's get the next one. If you're anything like I was in the past, so I started with a story. So you check out a whole lot of other books and see how they run their stats, and then pick out one that kind of feels good, tweak it a little and start flowing, and have your outline, keep it in view so it can guide you. And sometimes you may have to build on the outline, sometimes you need to take out something, sometimes you need to add in something. But as soon as you're done writing, of course, you want to speak with an editor, you want to get a book cover designed, you want to speak with a publisher, and of course, you want to go. You want to go. You want to just get it out there, really. I wish you all the best.
I hope that answered your question. Omoride Mutala. I want to see if there's any other question. Okay. Oh, all right. There's no other question. Okay, let me ask one question. Your talk, you talked about writing and then publishing your book, but I imagine that what you're talking about is self-publishing, not by ebook publishing. Ebook publishing is definitely self-published book, but what you're talking about is writing the book and then going on to pay a publisher to print the hard copies for you, as opposed to traditional publishing where the publisher, acquires rights to, publish your book and do everything. That's what you're saying, right? Self-publishing.
Yeah, I spoke about different
Okay.
forms of writing. I didn't really talk about the traditional form, but I talked about,
Uh-huh.
e-writing. I talked about blogging. I talked about freelance writing, and then all of that. And of course, self-publishing. Yes, self-publishing.
Okay. Okay. So I think there's a question here. It's from my email, and she's talking about, I think, let me just get it out here. She's talking about, she said she wrote, I'm sorry, she sent it to my email, and I just
Okay.
have to get it. Uh, she said she's a children's author.
Okay.
She said she has a motivational book based on quotes from the Quran and Hadith, and it's
Hmm.
for women and teens, but she doesn't know where to send it.
Where to sell it? See us,
Where
the
to
Muslim
send
that
it?
you're
Yeah.
supposed to be selling to now. If Yeah. So you need to target the people that you're writing for. You just said that you wrote a motivational quotes based on the Quran and the Hadith. That's amazing. So you're supposed to share it with the Ummah, right? So start talking to your Muslim brothers and sisters all around the neighborhood, your family, your friends, and those are the people that are supposed to read it. We, the Ummah, we are supposed to be the ones to read it. So you probably are not focusing on the right people. So start focusing on the right people now. Start targeting the right people. Start using the right hashtag. Books on
Mm,
Muslima writer, Muslima this, Muslima all. You guys need to start. This. You know, the world right now is people can actually fish you out just with by hashtag. A lady
mm.
actually found me on Instagram just by looking for a hashtag. She's got an issue and she needs somebody to help her with it. And then she went on Instagram and searched and searched and
Just search the
searched.
hashtag.
And then she found me because I've been posting and writing about it and writing books in that area. And then she reached out. And then there was a deal. So change your targeting. Target the Ummah. Target the Muslim brothers and sisters. Target the Muslim parents. Target the imams, the sisters that lead other sisters, for instance. You want to talk to someone like Hafsa as well. You want to talk to Muslimah authors, right? So that and that's another thing, we Muslim sisters, we're not doing well enough in supporting each other. Like, we're not doing enough. What are we even doing? Like, uh it's depressing. Sometimes I want to do certain things and try to bring people together and they just mess it up and I'm like, oh, not again, you know. And finally I just felt like, okay, let me just start something, and I started the Poppy Network for Muslim. Alhamdulillah, last year, we're over a year old now, and we just wanted to offer a safe place for Muslim sisters, right? Where you can come, pour out, look for therapy, get therapy, get coaching, get counseling, get mentoring, get support, at little or no cost. That's just what you wanted to do. But you can imagine how we have to push and push and push and push and push, and how, getting people to come on board is really a whole lot of things. But I think that as Muslim sisters, we need to do much more better. We need to start supporting ourselves. So when you look around, you see that um other the other side of the divide, you realize Christians, they're doing a lot for themselves. You see how it's not her course, or it's not her book, or you see how some people will just carry their friends way and they will even do promotional ads for it on Instagram. I'll be like, ha, now wow, no be small thing. So we need to be all out for ourselves because we have more to even offer. Like, there's so much. Look at you, you just say you're written a book, based, motivational book based on you know, verses and
The
chapters from the
Quran
Quran.
and a date.
A Christian man was asking me about Fabi Ayi Alayi Rabbikuma Tukaziban. Do you get? Yes, he said, come, this which favor of your Lord shall I, that I should please tell him what's the complete quote? Where is it? How can what's the meaning? He's a Christian. And I now break it down for him and said, Allah is trying to educate us about the bounties He's created in the world and how He's an abundant God and how He has created abundance for us and all of that. And he was like, oh, wow, interesting, and all of that. So that's the Christian on the other side. So we need to do better, really. We really need to do better. You see Muslim sisters doing something, writing books, support them. Even if you're not going to buy, promote them, share it on your stories, share the link, broadcast the thing, let it go viral. It shouldn't be rumors that will be making viral. We should be making things like this go viral. People are going viral just because some of their friends decide to rally around them on social media, and before you know it, they have gone viral and they've become influencers. Now we have better knowledge, we have better ideas that we really need to influence the Ummah with, but we are not going viral. So you need to start we need to become strategic and push ourselves and go viral, and we have something better and dominate and instill the right ideas, information, skills in people, help ourselves. Yes, that's it. If we don't help ourselves, who is going to? Who else? Who is going to? Yeah. I just really hope that we can do better, really.
I do. It's like you said, it's something that bothers one's mind really, because the woman helping women maxim, it's not something that we really incorporate. It's not something we
We are not
really
doing it.
do it. We're not doing it at all. And we need to really step up. We need to step up and become game changers. No. Jazakumullah khairan, Jazakumullah khairan. You've really dropped some gems that we need to go back and ruminate on. We need to go back and, ingested it. Now we need to come back and think about it and try to take action on everything that you have said. So, Jazakallah khairan for the concise and informative presentation. I want to see if there are any questions here from the viewers. There are no more questions. Some people send questions to my social media handles as well, or like the one I read out now, or to my email. So if there are any other, if I receive any other such questions, I will, get them across to you, inshallah.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Mashallah. Thank you so much, Sister Hafsa, for putting this together. May Allah reward you. May this be business for you on the day of Qiyamah, inshallah, and for all of us. Okay, sisters, thank you all so much for joining in, because you all are getting rewards too. We are not the only ones. You're getting rewards for learning, right? For coming to improve yourself. Yes, you see, that's the beauty of our religion. Like, for everything, there is a reward, and even the littlest of things, the smallest of things. It's so interesting, that it's so encouraging, that just by coming here to spend 30 minutes, 1 hour to learn, you're getting a reward for learning, because learning is also an act of ibadah. We are supposed to learn. We're encouraged to learn. And so we begin to think that only when we do salats, only when we do azkar, that's only when we do tilawa, that's when we're doing ibadah. Everything we do every day is supposed to be a way to worship Allah, and not vice versa. So when you're doing something and you try to incorporate, the sunnah, the everything into it, you're getting rewards. So may Allah make it easy for us. I would like to connect with all of you, sisters. So you can look at for me on social media, Instagram. I think Instagram and Twitter.
Instagram. You're very active on Instagram.
Yeah, Bashirat. So that please, we can continue this conversation. There's a lot I'm doing there. At least, it can really, we can really connect and do something. And of course, if you need help, coaching, anything, regarding getting your book there, I'll be willing and open to help, inshallah. Thank you for having me.
I will link your bio in the description box, inshallah, your social media handle. So anybody who wants to connect with you can, just go there and search for you, and they'll connect with you, inshallah. So Jazakallah khairan for coming on. Jazakallah khairan. We really, really, really appreciate it. Jazakallah khairan. So, and for all the viewers, Sister Balki, Sister Halima, Jazakallah khairan, and every other person who's here, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you for coming. We'll end the podcast now, and we're going to see you in the next one by 4 p.m. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah. Wa alaikum